When Matthew Newton went for a walk in the Alaskan wilderness, he wanted to take inspiring images with his camera. He was walking in the snow and hoped, in addition to the wonderful nature, to be able to capture some wild animals. The man, however, was also aware of the dangers of this region. A variety of dangerous animals lived here, such as bears and wolves. But he was experienced with wild animals and knew how he should behave if one of these animals encountered him. Overall, he felt safe, but he couldn't imagine what he would go through that day. After walking through the snow for a while, Matthew spotted an animal some distance away. He looked like a lynx. Matthew raised the camera and started taking as many photos as he could. He got a little closer and hoped the lynx wouldn't get scared or leave. But luckily, he stopped and looked around. He even looked directly into the camera as Matthew took more and more photos. The man approached boldly and was surprised that the lynx had not yet run away. Something felt very strange. Matthew lowered the camera and looked curiously at the lynx. The lynx looked back so curiously. The man had never experienced this in all his years of photographing. It was truly a special moment. Then, the lynx did something totally unexpected. He began to slowly approach Matthew. Normally, he would have tried to scare him. Lynx can be very dangerous, and they are intelligent predators and skilled at hunting. But something about this animal caught his attention. It was as if the lynx was begging him. Its eyes were asking him for help. Matthew stopped when the lynx reached him, and the animal began to move him towards a bush. It was a little out of the way, and Matthew worried a little that no one would be able to find it if something happened. But curiosity got the better of him, and he followed the lynx down the path towards the bush. As he walked, the lynx looked back to make sure Matthew was still following him. A very strange and confusing situation. But what the man saw when he reached the bush made his heart sink. There was a poor lynx cub, trapped in a trap that was on its hind leg. It seemed that the mother wanted Matthew to try to help the young man save his life, because without human intervention, the poor young man was dead. Spiritually, Matthew rose to work. He knew he couldn't leave the poor animal to its fate. Matthew took an emergency tool from his bag and began to undo the trap. Finally, she let go, and it was clear that he had an injured foot. Matthew sat up and cleaned the wound as much as he could. Luckily, the wound wasn't that serious and could be healed on its own. The lynx's mother later took over the care and kissed the baby. She wanted to look at the man as he got up and returned to his journey. Matthew didn't need praise. He knew he had a good attitude. But the man didn't know what would happen next. The rest of Matthew's adventure tour was pretty uneventful. He took lots of photos and enjoyed the silence and solitude of nature. When he returned home in the evening, he took a hot shower, ate good food, and fell into bed. Every time, he thought about the extraordinary encounter with the lynx that day. Then he fell asleep quickly and with a smile on his face. The other day, he woke up because of a loud noise coming from outside. There were knocks and scratches, a noise he had never heard before. Immediately, he was on alert, sat up and listened carefully because he believed an intruder had tried to break into his home. Worried, Matthew grabbed some clothes and a baseball bat, which he stored in the corner of his room. If there was an intruder, Matthew would make him regret his decision to enter his home. He placed a hand on the door latch before opening the door and readying himself with his bat. But no one was there. Despite that, there was this strange noise. When the man looked outside, he realized it was coming from his balcony. Slowly and silently, he approached the glass and looked out onto the balcony. If someone was out there, they could get a good look at him. But what he saw, he couldn't believe it. He was shocked. Matthew looked out the window, not sure what he was seeing. His gaze fell on something strange yet familiar. It was the lynx's mother, who he had helped the day before as he walked across the ice. She looked at the door and searched up and down. It seemed like the animal was following him home and wanted to thank him for his kindness. But Mommy Lynx wasn't alone. She had brought her children, who were all scared and watched their mother curiously. He even saw the little baby lynx with the injured foot. To his delight, he noticed that he was much less swollen and irritated than the day before. Apparently, the baby was getting better. As soon as the lynxes realized he was watching them through the large window, they let out an excited meow. Matthew grabbed his camera and began documenting the strange and incredible apparition on his porch. It looked like the bobcats had come to repay his kindness. The shy and unsociable animals played and rolled around, even sleeping on their balcony. They remained there for about an hour. Finally, the bobcat mother got up and headed towards the porch steps to go back into the jungle. Her cubs followed her, stood up in line, and were guided by their mother. Matthew watched him with a smile as they disappeared into the trees. The man would not forget this special moment for the rest of his life. If this story captivated you, share it so that more people know about this incredible event. Man can be kind to nature, just open your soul and your heart.